Got it. All right.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Live. I'm Laura Hopkins, and tonight we are joined for another edition of our Autism and Sensory Integration Month by a good friend of mine, Jen Brown. She's joining us all the way out in the Pacific time zone in California, and she's going to share her family story tonight. And please, if you have questions throughout, feel free to put those in the chat. And Jen will probably just tell her story, and then we'll get to those questions at the end. And so, Jen, please introduce yourself, tell us a little about yourself, and we are excited you're joining us tonight. Take it away.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. As Laura said, my name is Jen Brown, and I am in California. I am a mom to 5 amazing children that took us a while to get. A lot of people are like, oh, 5 kids. I'm like, yeah, it took us 6 years of infertility to get there, but God blessed us with those 5 children. 3 of those amazing children are on the autism spectrum. And I'll just kind of share my story with you. So my son, I'm going to be very, very candid. So my opinions may not be your opinions, but I'm just going to share my experience. So please bear with me. So we had 2 girls, and I started to realize that something was a little bit off when my oldest daughter at 8 months old she was having allergies, and the doctor was like, she has allergies. And I'm like, I don't think she has allergies. That's kind of weird. And he wanted me to put her on medicine. And I was like, no, no. So I thought, okay, I don't know what it could be, but I'm just going to hold steady. So we have another daughter, and there were some things that didn't make sense right after she was born. They told us she had spinal meningitis and she was going to die. And so they took us to another hospital. We spent a week in the hospital, and we're like, okay, she didn't have meningitis. She had this unknown thing, but we didn't know what it was. We were still young parents of 2 daughters, and we didn't know any different. So we just kept trucking on. And then our son was born, and he was a little different, but not like, oh, wow, he's vastly different. It was at his 15-month vaccination when our world literally turned upside down. And I share with my daughter's experience because it explains what kind of happened to our family with my son. And it all makes a complete puzzle. We understand now. Our kids were vax-injured. And like I said, this is our experience. You might have a different belief, but this is, again, our experience. So when he was 15 months old, he had his vaccinations, and he became very aggressive. He began to cry and scream uncontrollably. And we couldn't quite figure it out. We thought, well, we're parents to girls. Maybe it's because he's a boy. And we took a trip right after he had those vaccines. It was a lengthy trip down to LA. So it's about 5 hours. And we thought, well, he's crying because he's just been in the car seat. No, he's crying because he's in the hotel. No, he's crying because he's been in the stroller in all the theme parks. No. When we were at the restaurant, he began taking the plates off the table and chucking them like saucers, like Frisbees. Something's wrong, but we don't know what it is. So we keep trucking along, not really understanding what's going on. By that time, so we have those 5 children. We had 5 babies in just a hair over 6 years. By this point, I am already, we're just about to give birth to our 4th child, our daughter. And so we're on the vax schedule. We're doing all the things, but I always kind of question. I'm like, I don't, they say that, but let me investigate, but not enough to where it pushed me over the edge until my daughter was born. My daughter was born. She was happy, healthy, beautiful little girl. Same thing at 15 months, had that vaccination, and her mama, daddy, love you, went to bleh, 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 bleh. She had plenty to say, but we could not understand anything she was saying. So the intelligible language completely went away. So we said, whoa, something's wrong. So we're trucking along. And by this point, she's 15 months old. And I am our 5th baby. So again, we're on that back schedule, but I'm going, something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but we keep trucking along. So I start having all of these tests done on her. And we find out as I'm doing the test, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is Jacob. Oh my gosh, this is Jacob. This is Esther, but this is also Jacob. What is going on? And by this time, I've already had it takes in California, it takes a long time to get testing done. So we have our testing done. We find out that she has PPD-NOS, Persuasive Developmental Disorder Non-Specified, which means, and also sensory integration disorder, which now they clean it up and they call it ASD, the Autism Spectrum Disorder. And as I'm doing those tests with her, like I said, this is Jacob. So we said, okay, we know what the issue is. Let's have him tested. And they said, well, we don't want to test him. He's kind of old. He's kind of old. What are you talking about? You have to test him. So we finally broke through that, had him tested. He's diagnosed with autism. So is she. We're long, and then here's our son, Joshua. He comes along, developing perfectly fine. He starts to have those vaccines, and his wasn't until his when he was going into kindergarten is when we saw a huge difference, where he just went super interior and just got really angry. He was always super inquisitive and, liked to do things differently, but just got really angry and interior. He would walk around the tree for hours and we realized at that point, oh my gosh, we have poisoned our kids. Sorry. And again, these are my beliefs. Yours may be different than mine. But this is our experience. So our daughter did not gain intelligible speech until she was in the 4th grade. And she's left with a very, very severe reading delay. So she has been in speech therapy since she was 18 months old. And our boys have been in autism therapy for years now. So what that piece looks like for our family is we have 4 out of 5 days a week. It used to be full 5 days a week, but 4 out of 5 days a week, we have 2 behavior specialists, one for each one of the boys that come in and that are here. So we have 2 extra people in our home every day. And then when the supervisors come, then that's an extra 4 people a day. So that just gives you an idea of where we are as a family. Now, we're trucking along. We have this behavioral therapy. Things are getting better, but they're not great. And as a mom to 5 beautiful children, I homeschool. I also had a brick and mortar business before I started my Young Living business. And I'm running that full time. And I needed some order. I needed some peace. Only what, the ABA could give was just giving us little bite-sized pieces of hope. And it wasn't enough, to be very honest. And I remember I started Young Living because I had some health issues. And I started it in February of 2018. And by June of 2018, we were at an all-time low with our youngest son. And he was incredibly aggressive to where sometimes, in full transparency, my family would go down to our store and we would sleep in the store because he was so aggressive. And I remember, out of desperation, in our Anointing Nations group, who is my Upline Diamonds group, who's under Laura, asking, does anybody know anything about autism? I need some help. And someone said, try MindWise. And I said, okay, I'll try it. And we were not for medicating our son. We just did not feel like that was the right thing to do. And so we thought, okay, we're going to try the supplement. But he was not on board. So as I said, this is 2018. And this is in like May. And oops, so sorry. My my do not disturb allows my husband to still come through. Sorry about that. So in May, we're still, we're struggling, but he won't take it. So May of 18 was a really tough summer. This kid was hyperphobic of water, to the point if a drop of water would get on him, it would send him into an aggressive behavior that could last 2 hours. It could last 12 hours. So he would not shower and he would not bathe. Now, my business, my brick and mortar store, was very high profile in our community. And my kids came with me to the store. And I thought, oh my gosh, people, there's that concern. People are going to judge you. And I finally realized, I'm like, okay, I can't really, there's nothing I can do. You know what? He smells. It is what it is. I can apologize, but it's not really a reflection of me. It's where my son is. So we go through that entire summer of him bathing twice, sleeping in the same clothes, would not change into pajamas or anything like that. So literally wearing the same clothes for the entire summer and bathing twice. And my mom was still with me at this point. She was still alive. She passed in 2019, but she said, why don't you just spank his bum? Just like make him change. And I'm like, gosh, only if it was that easy, I would just spank all of them and they would all fall in line like little ducklings, It doesn't work that way, Mom. So it was September. And I said, I'm going to try this MindWise again. So I tried it. I finally got him to take it. And he started consistently taking it. And within 2 weeks of taking the MindWise, that boy started showering every single day. Yeah. Now, what is that? Why is that such a big deal? I mean, what is it about the MindWise? His brain was starving, literally starving for nutrients. Because if you know anything about people on the autism spectrum, a lot of times they have very, very tight food perseverations. They will only eat specific foods. So this kid lived on peanut butter sandwiches and he wouldn't eat anything else. So he had no nutrients. And the MindWise started feeding his brain. So like I said, he started showering. Praise God for that. And now he would shower, but then he would put on the same dirty clothes. And we're still working on that. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, we've crossed the finish line. He changes his shirt every single day, but his pants are still tough. But it's amazing that there's hope, Now fast forward. He's always had an issue with sleep. And I have my other kids too, but I just want to share Joshua's testimony because I think that focusing on him because his testimony is just really a picture of what the Lord has done. And he's used these products, his products, plants to heal my son and help him along the way. So that's why I'm focusing on Joshua. So Joshua has always had issues with sleep, like for as long as I can remember. He would have nightmares and we would spend hours at night just praying over him, praying with him. Nothing seemed to work. And so he would stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because he was so afraid to go to sleep because of the nightmares. And I thought, I don't know what to do. We've done all these other things. And my friend Melinda Hawk, I'd heard her talking about using vetiver on the big toe. And I thought, well, I'll try it. And, if he'll let me. So he let me try the vetiver, and he started to see a little bit of results. And I thought, okay, well, if that works, I'm going to try something else. I've heard about this freedom, release, and sleep kit. I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh, my background's blurred, so you probably can't. Anyway, so I tried that. And in the meantime, Laura and I happened to be talking, and I said something about a plantar wart that he had on his foot. And some of you may or may not know, my brick and mortar store, I was in the shoe industry for 15 years, owning my own store. So I would see plantar warts, things like that. So I knew what it was. And I asked her, I'm like, do you know anything about this? And she's like, look at the emotional side. So she sends me this thing about the emotions of it. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. It aligned very clearly and closely with what he was going through. So I would encourage you, if you have the app or the book, Feelings Buried Alive, go look up plantar wart and what it says. It's pretty amazing. So I was like, okay, that all the more reason to do this freedom and sleep kit. So we did it for 30 days. And then we did the other half. And about halfway into the second kit, I looked at his foot. Guess what? That plantar wart was gone. We didn't actually put anything on the wart. We just put the oils on his feet. But what has happened now, let me back up. This kid was terrified of water, like I told you. He was afraid to go outside. We homeschool, and we have a co-op that we go to. He would not go to the co-op. He would not go out to meet friends. We're heavily involved in our church. He would not go. He would not go to the youth group. All of the, like, we were involved in Awana. He used to go to that, but then there was like this switch that went on probably about 2017, 18, where he just stopped going out in public. Even to go to the grocery store was a big deal. So we did that freedom and sleep and release kit. And this was in May. By the time May was over and that kit was over, youth group was starting for the summer. So his older siblings said, hey, do you want to come? I don't think I want to come. You should come. Okay, I'll come. So this entire summer, not only has that boy went, he's sleeping through the night. He goes to sleep about 11. He wakes up between 7:30 and 8 almost every single day. There's some days where we let him sleep a little bit later, and he goes to youth group without fail. Today was the first day of the co-op, and he went with no issue and told me, I had fun in math today. That art class was awesome, Mom. So if you guys ever question, is there power in these things? I am here to tell you, because I eat, sleep, and drink and breathe autism on a daily basis. There is some foundational results that can happen if you put in the work. And we're just a small blip on the radar. I mean, I know that other people have amazing testimonies too, but I'm just so grateful that I met someone who was willing to tell me how to use these, tell me about these oils, and to make a difference in my family. I came for myself, for my own gut health, but what I got out of it was emotional healing for me, emotional healing for my kids, a stronger marriage. I mean, I'm so grateful, so grateful. So I hope that helps someone, and I'd love to answer some questions.
And I so appreciate you being willing to talk tonight.
Thank you.
You did mention that we've had many people talking. And what I love is that just about everybody who's talked does have a different story.
Mm-hmm.
We have had differences, but so much of what we've talked about goes back to healing the gut. It goes back to allowing the gut to heal so the brain can heal. And we talk about And I personally have been going through this, as on our journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crucial. And when you talked about MindWise, can you tell us maybe a little bit more about, we understand there's a lot of people on the call who are new tonight. So they don't really maybe even know much about oils. So when it comes to understanding what MindWise is, can you tell me maybe specifically how did he use it? And then, maybe a little bit about the omegas that are in it, why it was so crucial for him. Because you are also, you have a naturopathic background too. So go ahead and share your credentials.
Yeah. So for me, with Joshua, like I said, his gut health was trash. He had a candida overgrowth in 2017. And so we had really worked hard on his gut, but he was still starving. And so he broke out I should probably just tell you guys this. He broke out one day from head to toe with a candida overgrowth. He was like literally ripping at his skin. It was horrific. So with the MindWise, we started there, feeding his brain. It has the Sacha-ichi nut in there. I'm not really good at recalling all the other stuff. I'm so sorry. I just know it works. Taste in full transparency, I take it. It tastes like bloody dirt to me, but you know what? It works. So I don't care what it tastes like.
Wait. Bloody dirt? Are you have you tasted bloody dirt? Because that's okay.
Oh, I imagine
that's specific. It has wolfberries in it. And they're not sweet. They can be bitter. So, and the Sacha-ichi nut, but yeah, it's definitely a thicker, acquired taste. But I put it with Ningxia Red to kind of help cover that a little.
Yeah, I just take it and just bottoms up and be done. But he doesn't mind it now. He actually will crave that. But we started with that. And then I started adding the digestive enzymes. I started using the Mighty Zymes and then the Mighty Pro with him, and seeing huge results with that. Like this kid, probably too much information, but that's okay. We're all girls here, right? Maybe there's a guy, but that's okay. We're talking about poop. So he would have, every time he would go to the bathroom, it would be like diarrhea every single time. And it's finally, like, for the first time in his little life, I mean, he's 15 now, but for 13 years he just had diarrhea all the time. So not only is he's on this ridiculously narrow food path and he's starving there, but any nutrients he was having or he would get would go right through his body. So now with the Mighty Pro and the Mighty Zyme, and then I added in the Mighty Vite, he's got solid stool. That is huge, huge. So he's absorbing some nutrients now. Now he's not so narrow on his food. He now will eat some chicken. He'll eat some beef. He does love fruit, and he will eat vegetables if they're raw. So that's good. So yeah, and that's kind of how we started. I don't know if that helps, Laura, but that's kind of our journey there.
Very much so. Very much so. Did you also mentioned vetiver, which is a single oil? For those, it's not an oil you hear about a lot. We know it. We're familiar with it because of what it does for the brain. We, all my kids, when I homeschooled back in the day, my current high school freshmen, we would put vetiver on and breathe it in. And it was one that we know, a friend of ours who did brain mapping and biofeedback, he actually showed on a biofeedback machine when we would inhale it, he could see that your EEG, your brain waves changing, and your delta waves, which are the slowest to change. If you think of the variation of brain waves. So delta waves, it's like a swimming pool. Like right now in Oklahoma, a swimming pool is like bathwater. Okay. So you get in and it's hot. But if that same water is not being heated, in 2 months from now, it's going to be slower to change, but it will gradually change. We could have a thunderstorm and the temperature drops 25 degrees here, but that bath water, that pool water is still going to be warm, right? So the temperature of the water is slower to change. And that's what a delta wave is. It's a slow change. It will eventually change with the temperature. Same thing in the spring. When it's cold outside, the water and the ponds are going to be colder. It might be up to 90 degrees in May, but you don't get in the water yet. It's too cold. So that's what a delta wave is. And specifically what we saw with our personal delta waves is that, and what my friend said was in biofeedback, delta waves could take years and years to change just with talk therapy. We're talking about counseling. So we're not even talking about the autism spectrum right now. We're talking about every brain and the delta waves of it. So vetiver is one. And how did you use it on his foot every night? How were you using it? Other ways. What did he start to use it? Now he's older. Is he starting to use it on his own? Does he tell it? Can you tell a difference?
So with the vetiver, we used it for about a week. We didn't use it very long because when I started seeing results, I thought, okay, if this will have this kind of results this quickly and helping him to go to sleep, I'm ordering that kit. And so we went straight in, like I said, we used it for a week and we went straight into the Freedom and Release kit. Now, did he see a difference? Undoubtedly. He told me, he said, Mom, I don't know what's in those oils. I don't know what is happening, but I'm not having the nightmares. I'm not having those racing thoughts like I had before. That to me, for him to have that self-awareness and realizing, that was huge for me, huge. So yes, he definitely knew and understood the difference for sure. All of my kids are high functioning, so they all are verbal. We're very blessed with that they're verbal. I mean, so many families don't have that. And so we're really grateful for that. It does come with aggression though. We do get a lot of that. I will tell you, since him being on this, all of my kids really, the aggression level has went from here to here. So that has been massive for us, because I remember days when we would lock ourselves in the bedroom, and just because they couldn't express themselves, and quieting the mind long enough for them to gather their thoughts. I mean, these oils have allowed them to do that. Where, behavioral therapy, ABA, applied behavioral analysis therapy, is helped, but not quite the same way. This has helped us over the hump. And I'm just so grateful for that, because I didn't think it was possible. When you're in the trench with a person who is neurodiverse and they're beating the crap out of you, sorry, but you just think, okay, is this what my life's going to be like for the next 5 to 10 years? How many days until they move out? That's the kind of thoughts that I went through. Or, the supervisors would say to me, there are other alternatives. You could send them to a group home. There's not a parent on the earth that wants to hear that I think your child would be better if they were in a group home for your safety. Nobody wants to hear that. So, for me, these have just been life-changing, not just my life, but my kids' life. And I'll share another success with you. My oldest son, also very aggressive, crazy smart. All of my kids are crazy smart, but just very aggressive. And these oils and the gut health for him, for my son Jacob, has been amazing what he has received because he takes the digestive enzymes, essential zymes, and the Life 9. He takes the, because he's older. So we thought that he was just going to just exist. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. But not only did he graduate this last May, we homeschooled through a homeschool charter. So it was like part home, part there. Not only did he graduate, but he graduated with honors. And in September, in 3 weeks, he's going to YWAM, Youth with a Mission, on a 6-month discipleship training program to study apologetics. That wouldn't be possible if we had continued on the path that we were on. So, yeah.
Wow, that's I just got goosebumps. It's because somebody took the time to just get out of their comfort zone and say, hey, I heard, know that you're going through struggles. Beverly and I talked about this last week. She didn't have a diagnosis until her son was 15. And someone that she knew even said, yeah, I kind of wondered if he was autistic. Just somebody that stepped up and said, I don't know if this would help you or not, but I'm going to be brave and see. What's the worst you could say is no. So there's a lot of people on tonight that I know this is affecting all of us. Hearing these stories from Victoria and Noah last week, talking about Michael and my Levi, now Joshua. We've got 2 more weeks where we're going to hear more stories. And I just want to thank you, Jen, for coming on and sharing. Looks like there might be some questions over here that we've covered some, but I just want to thank you for being very candid, sharing your story. And as you talk about the supplements, if you guys are hearing some of these things, you're going, okay, what's what? Connect with the person who invited you to this class tonight. Connect with the people who are sharing oils with you, and ask questions. You can always send an email to 7oilydays. That's the number 7 oily, OILY days @gmail.com. And we can help you get connected to Young Living and what you need. We more than anything are all people who started on this journey looking for our own health. We were all looking for something for ourselves. And what we got was so much more. We got a community of people that we link arms with. And now it's just fun to hear these testimonies of lives getting changed. And I'm still in the beginning of my testimony, but this has been so powerful and encouraging. You guys think I did this for you. I did this for me, to listen to your stories of overcoming, because my son is 5 and I'm ready. I pray for a miracle every day, but hearing Joshua's story tonight was really, really powerful for me to hear and give me encouragement. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome, friend. You are, because I remember what it was like to be in that trench and thinking, is this what my life's going to be like? Is this what it's going to be? And whoops, oh my gosh, did I lose
what his life is going to be like?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in full transparency, I thought about mine, because he was so aggressive to us, to his siblings. I mean, bite marks, punch me in the face, bruises. I mean, between both of the boys, it was rough. I mean, our daughter, she would just curl up in the ball and like hit at you. Not quite the same as those boys. And I remember my dad saying to me, when my dad was still alive, he said, what are you going to do when they get older? You can't sustain this. And I just remember thinking, no, I know you're right. And I couldn't even think it. I mean, like you said, Laura, thinking about his life, I couldn't even think that far. It was just like, how am I going to live? Because I'm going to end up hurt real bad. And one of the things my friend said to me one time, when one of the boys was younger, she says, if you just had a nice lady sit with them, I think they would be okay. Really?
Right.
Nice lady. Okay, let's try that. I mean, so I say that
Did you volunteer to be the nice lady?
No. Friends, I just want to be candid. Don't say stupid things. Offer your friend a bottle of oil. Offer them a lifeline. Because when you are in this, when you are a parent of a special needs child, you feel so isolated because you don't feel like you can share with candor that your kid is beating you up, that your kid is, not showering, because somehow as a parent, you internalize that and think it's your fault. But honestly, it is where they are. And it's not a reflection of your parenting. It's where they are. In our case, it is because some company made money off of my children and don't have to compensate us for that. We live with the consequences every single day of us choosing to vaccinate our children. And again, that is our position. That may not be yours, and I totally respect that. But just seeing the fundamental difference of what happened, how they were before and then after. Ask questions, guys. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
So true.
Yeah.
So we did have a couple questions. One of the questions was, what is vetiver? I'm just repeating this for the people who watch in the future, because we answered it in the chat. It's a single oil. And Shanna asked if it was good to diffuse. It's a lot thicker. I know people that have diffused it. So when you put it in your diffuser, you may have to clean your diffuser out a little bit more often if you want other oils going through there, because it can get a little clogged, but we can share with you how to clean a diffuser. It's not a hard process. I personally, we see most success with just applying vetiver topically. Would you agree, Jen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Your toe is a great personal diffuser for vetiver for many reasons.
Specifically because one being, it's kind of for your VitaFlex points, it's your brain.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And also, I will tell you, for a sensory kid, sometimes because vetiver is, it's not a florally smell, it can be a little adverse. So if it's on the toe and you have a sensory kid, they can't really smell it so much. So that's a really good place to put it.
Very good. So one other question, lots of love. You're getting a lot of love in the chat over here. People
Thank you.
And thank you for your testimony, how encouraging it is. What would be the first oil you would suggest to give to someone with an autistic child who did not have a clue?
Peace and calming, hands down. I didn't even touch on that, but peace and calming, again, specifically for Joshua, that is that dude's oil. Like, he could be having a meltdown and I could open it in the room and you just kind of see like the energy come down. One time we were driving to a WANA camp. Hopefully you guys all know what it is, but it's a camp for kids who are in the WANA program. And he was rocking and humming and stimming and jumping and, and we're on this very narrow, windy road going, oh, Lord Jesus, help me. Because it was so distracting. I'm thinking I'm going to go off the road. So I opened it, the peace and calming, and I'm smelling it. He goes, what is that? And I went, it's this. And it kind of spilled all over his pillow. He had this back pillow. I was like, Lord, you are so genius. Thank you. Because that was not an accident. I mean, it was, but it was totally God's, divine thing. And I watched this kid kind of melt into the chair. I was like, thank you, Lord. I was driving up there. My husband had to stay home. So I had 4 of my 5 kids with me. And I just thought, he's going to be collecting our life insurance is what I thought, because, we were so distracted by that, but he just melted right into that chair. Peace and calming quiets the mind and was our gateway oil for him, for sure. For sure.
Absolutely. It works for grownups too. Just animals. It's a great one for animals during thunderstorms, and a lot of people love it. So, all right, that's all the questions I have. We're over time, but I don't think anybody cares. I don't care. It was wonderful. If there are any other questions, you guys feel free to type them in and we'll get those to Jen. Or you can always send them in if you think of something later, or get with the person who invited you to this call, who shared this with you, because we're very grateful for you sharing tonight.
Thank you. I did see one question about the mind